This is the Working with Warriors podcast by the team at the Regional Men's Health Initiative. G'day to all our listeners and welcome back for another Working with Warriors podcast. I'm Glenn Dunkerton and today I'm joined by fellow team member and community educator Michael Kaufman, who's joining me in discussion around today's topic of keeping safe and how it's everyone's responsibility. Welcome, Mike.
Great, thanks Glenn. Good to be here.
Well, here we are. We're headlong into the new year, but I bet as we were nearing the end of last year, we would have all been pretty busy trying to get jobs done, crossing them off the list. And I suppose inevitably, around that time of the year, we're all feeling pretty tired, and it's worth looking at how we deal with those times and how our nerves can be a bit raw. We're under the pump and sometimes we're just over it. And I think everyone can relate to that feeling of feeling tired and run down. And that's from your kids at school to mums coping with, especially around the holiday time, and dads are struggling with that same sorts of things at home or at work. We all know there's lots of work to get done to get us through to the end of the year, and this might include finishing harvest, various stock work. It might be that last FIFO swing before the holidays, or getting that last job finished and having the kids' end-of-year school events. All of that stuff sort of piles on top of one another, and this can lead to us working beyond our limit. We've all got a different capacity to both absorb those extra things thrown at us and also our ability to get the job done. And this can differ depending on an individual's work ethic, how we're hardwired. We shouldn't just assume that what I can do is the norm and then place that expectation on family members or employees or work colleagues. Now, Mike, there's some laws and there's some guidelines around this aspect of our working lives, isn't there?
Yes, there is. So work health and safety, WH&S, I'm sure we've all heard of that. They're the rules and regulations that give us like the legislative framework to guide us. But it doesn't allow for cultural context in which us blokes sometimes operate. And that cultural context for blokes includes our approach to risk-taking, and we're hardwired for risk-taking. Our need to get the job done, and we're task-orientated, responding to deadlines like that go, and our approach to winning, win at all costs. And these things can cloud our judgment around keeping safe both in the workplace, in our personal life as well. So as blokes, we all need to be aware and manage our behaviour, otherwise we'll invariably fail in our responsibility to stay safe, not only to ourselves but to our workers.
Yeah, and we look at how the nature of work, particularly in rural, regional, remote areas, can change. You look at broadacre farming, for example, and the changing face of the workplace there. You look at the farms, they're getting bigger, country communities are getting smaller. The workforce on farms that maybe in previous years had multiple farmhands working, it's quite often come back to the sole operator. And that sole operator, as much as a lot of stuff's been automated, there's still jobs there that probably in keeping safety in mind, some of those jobs really require a couple of people, but blokes being blokes and being under the pump, they'll try and get them done, and sometimes they put themselves at risk when they do that. So we've got to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in vulnerable positions.
No, definitely right, Glenn. It can be hard to do. You know, we think she'll be right, that type of attitude. So don't cut corners. Your safety is paramount. You know, if you've got to do things like wear a helmet on the quaddie, just do it. Keeping safe needs to start somewhere. So it's no different in our individual health. And I always say that my health is my responsibility, not my doctor's, my workplace or my wife's. However, my wife is very good at giving me a good kick up the backside, also called nagging, to get me to the doctor, to do my annual service visit and my annual dentist appointment as well, get my skin checks, those type of things.
Yeah, it's good having that live-in PA at home to organise those things. And in saying what you've just said, that making sure that we understand that working safely isn't just somebody else's responsibility. We've got to take it on ourselves. Quite often in our role at Regional Men's Health, we'll be invited to sort of value add to a toolbox meeting and things like that. And we talk about workplace health and safety, and some bright spark will say, oh, well, that's not me, that's Robbo, or that's Jono's job because he's the WHS guy. And unfortunately, it really, not unfortunately, really it's everybody's responsibility. We've got to take it upon ourselves to make sure we're in a safe place. I have a story that I do have to clean up a little bit about a good friend of mine who was supervising in a FIFO role, and he had somebody that would constantly flag issues but not do anything himself, down to the point of stepping over an extension cord and then writing it up to create a huge, I suppose, a written trail, whereas the extension cord cover, or those little sort of yellow and black things, that little speed hump to go over extension cords and stop them being a trip hazard, that was in the same cupboard as the paperwork to write it up. And he was, rather than create this massive headache, if we just take on that role of looking after ourselves and looking after one another and keeping an eye out, it would probably solve a whole lot of problems. So therefore, when it comes to keeping safe, both as an individual and as a collective, it's everyone's responsibility, not just Robbo's or Jono's. It's up to all of us, whether we're in the workplace or in a community group or our sporting clubs or within family settings, just to be vigilant and be particularly vigilant about working and keeping safe. Mike, what are some tips for keeping safe?
Well, first and foremost, just look after yourself, because you're your number one asset, so you've got to look after your own safety. As employees, we also have realistic expectations of our employees, including family members in the family business. So you've got to keep your son safe, and if you've got to have that tough talk around safety, then you've got to do it. Got to look out for our work colleagues as well, be aware and respond to behaviour changes. Talk to them about it. Communication is key here. We can try and maintain a balanced life. We can only do so much before fatigue sets in, and this is sometimes where accidents happen. And where appropriate and outside of busy times, take some time out. It can be hard to have a proper holiday, but even a half day off, going to town, watching the local footy, these type of things can be a holiday as well. And more importantly, enjoy what you do.
Yeah, and it is important that we enjoy what we do, and really that goes for all facets of our life. So spot on, Mike. Obviously, we're now into the new year, but we'll find ourselves busy and in those demanding times again. So let's keep safe by staying focused on the job at hand, so we can all get to enjoy the holiday breaks when they come around. So thanks, Mike, for joining me for this important topic around staying safe. And if people are chasing some more info on men's health and wellbeing, where can they find us?
Our website's the best place to find us, regionalmenshealth.com.au. Have a look at that. You might see our Red Talk to a Mate utes out and about. We've already been to a lot of events this year, so give us a wave, say g'day. Also, if you're a Twitter X fan, have a look at on there as well.
Good on you, Mike. Thanks, mate, and we'll see you later.
Thanks, Glenn.
Cheers. Thanks for listening to our Working with Warriors podcast series.
Talk to a mate. Just let it